continue into part 2. So there are some built-in functions and objects in the browser. So we're going to quickly work with the window function. So we're going to create a message and absorb window.innerWidth, the window inner height, the history.length. So this is the number of items in the browser's history, and the screen width and the screen height. So this is actually the size of your screen, and this inner width, inner height is how big you have your browser set up. So let's take a quick look. Oh yeah, we have to do this. Okay, so I'm going to create a variable L for info. We're going to write this message, this element, and there we go. So we output our browser window is this size. We have one item in our history, and our screen size is 1920 by 1080. So if I change this one, hit refresh to the page, see how these numbers change? That's because this is measuring the width of the browser, not how big the screen is. And we do this. Alert current page's window.location. This is going to output this right here to you. Reload the page and say this page is at localhost JavaScript 3 index.html, and that is where it is. If you want, you can look at. Let me create another page. Open another tab here. So this type of window, you can see all these available properties and methods. So if I type close, this should close this page, and it did. So you can close pages from JavaScript. So we'll run the page. Let me just demonstrate that again. I'll run the JavaScript console. So window is one of the built-in objects. It has a method called close. And if I call this method, what this method will do is close the current window that is open. As soon as I press enter, this page is going to go away. And there it went. So let me comment those out. Okay, back to our basic page. Next we're going to go to the document object, which actually we've been kind of using. So here we're going to go var message page title document.title. So this title is actually the one you set between the title tag and document.url. So this is the page address. This is rather similar to window.location. So we're going to set those into the footer and hit play. Okay. Yeah, so page title, basic functions in JavaScript, the page address, HTTP, this whole thing here matches, yep. And also, this is a method we've been calling with the document object this whole time, get element by ID, and then we passed it a parameter, a string called footer. So here we'll explain. So this method is looking for any of your elements named by this ID, footer. So if you look at the HTML, it's going, where is footer? I found it. So here's this tag, footer tag, but it's the ID footer. So it says, oh, on this ID, it's footer. Now I'm going to be that element, which we stored here. Then we used inner HTML is this message. So it said, okay, what's in between the tags? Put this message we created into here. So strings. So we can do a lot of things with strings. Let me see where put that into info so you can see. Okay, take a look. So let me show you the first variable. Okay, so we have this variable saying home, sweet home, and there's an extra space here. So this is capital letter, and these are the rest of the word is all lowercase. So the first built-in we're going to do is saying this variable dot length, and so that's saying this whole thing is 16. Now we're going to change all the letters to uppercase, which we did here. Uppercase. Now all the letters are uppercase. And then we call this method dot to lowercase, which changes it to here, all lowercase. Now here we're doing character at 12. This method is looking for the character that is at the index position 12. And remember, our indexes start from 0. So letter H is actually 0. Then it counts to the 12th letter, which is O. This one here. Okay, so next we're going to use this method, saying dot index of EE. So this returns the first instance it finds of EE in the string and adds it to this message. So the first time it sees EE, it's at position 7, which is here. So if even though, let's say I change this to EE, still the first one is at 7. Okay. Now let's say I add an E here, it changes to 3, because it's the first time it sees it is here. However many E's I add, it's still 3, because the first time I saw 2 E's together is at this position. Now next we're going to do the last index of E. So the last time it sees the letter E, so it's going to start this way, and you will see it's at character position 14. Now, if I add another E here, you're going to see that it's going to change from 14 to 15. Now, this is one of my favorites, substring. So, what this is going to do is please go in this string, go to the eighth character in the index, and then go to the 14th character and take that out. And so it returns at home. At home. Goes here. Goes okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, got it. Oh, actually 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, got it. Go to 14, got it. So anything between, that's the substring. And then here, find what we're going to do is replace. So we're going to look for ME and replace it with W. So the first time it sees ME, here, it's going to replace it with W, which changes the whole sentence to how sweet home. Just back to home. Now you can combine these. Let's say we wanted this substring, so we're gonna go for my replace equals saying dot substring. Let's do from 7 to 11. Now when we do saying, add this to message replace by variable. I'm saying that because we, instead of hard coding this in there, we are using a variable to look for it. So saying replace our variable my replace pick, replace it with hello. And I think I missed a parentheses. Paragraph, I mean, paragraph. Okay. Save. So now let's take a look at the answer. Oops, I have an error somewhere. Var my replace equals saying dot substring. Okay, there we go. So we created this variable, which is the substring from 7 to 11. Now we're going to add it to our message, replace by variable, which is going to call saying.replace. So replace whatever this found with hello. And let's take a look how that works. So we got home, swallow home. So if I change, like even if I change this to 10, so we look getting 1, let's go home, hello, sweet, home. 11 to 14. So see how it's just changing? Home, sweet, hello. Okay, so that's working with strings. I'm going to comment this out. We're going to work with numbers and math next. So here we're going to use our original number is pi, up to this many places. So let me write that out. So we're going to have our original number, just output it to the screen, pi. We're going to go to 3 decimal places and then down to 3 digits. Here, to get that, we got 2 fixed, 3. So this is going to round up the number to 3 places. Now we're going to add to 3, so it means just show me 3 digits on the screen. So we get 3.14, and that's it. So if I type, let's say 13.14, we get 13.1. So that's our precision. It's different, it means 3 digits and emphasize anything to the left of the decimal point. So like this was 113.141, we would get 113. This would still round to 3 decimal places, and this is our original number. And which brings up what happens if we go too big. So 9.11, e plus 3, what is this e plus 3? This actually means times 10 to the third, to the 3 power. Okay, so that's our basic math object. Now, so our basic number object. Now we're going to do some math. So var random number. So if I type random number now, like call it, we get 6. Next time I call it 8, 4. So it's just generating a random number. So how does this work? So we're going to return math, and I use this ceiling function, math.random times 10 plus 1. So let's just work on the inner part first and see what that outputs by itself. I type math.random, I get some kind of number below 1. So 0.9. And every time I call it, it's something that's below 1. So it returns anything from 0 to 1. So we're going to multiply that by 10. And so we do this one by 10. Then so we have something, a little bit whole numbers we can work with. So now it's 8 point something. So we could round it, but there's other methods besides rounding. So here we did a ceiling. So how do we think of a ceiling? And then another one related to this is floor. So there's math ceiling and math floor, and then there's your typical round. So whenever you have a number that's let's say 5.1, and if you're using a ceiling, so instead of 5.1, it goes to 6. So whereas in rounding it would go down to 5. So if you have like a number that's 5.1 and you did a floor, it would go to 5. Even if you had a number at 5.9 and you did a floor, it wouldn't jump to 6. It goes down to the floor to 5. So let's demonstrate that real quick. Ceiling. So if I did 5.001, I would get 6. And at the opposite end, that same number, floor, is 5, which sounds right, but now let's change this one to 5.999. Drops down to 5. So we dropped it down to 5. So this one's getting some kind of random number, multiply it by 10, add 1 to it, and go to the ceiling. So if you get, 3.5, jump up to 4. So that's how our random number function works. 6. I could output this to time I reload this page, I get a different random number under info. Okay. So now let's work with some data objects. Do I have this to the screen? I do not. Okay. So to create a data object, it's very simple. You create a variable, give it a name, equals new date. And you can even supply parameters into the date variable so that you get that specific date. So, which brings up working with dates. So let's say you wanted to calculate your age. So you declare a variable, your birth date equals new date, March 15th, 1997. Now let's go over here, and if I just output that, birth date, Saturday, March 15th. So that's how the object looks inside JavaScript. This is what we fed it. This is the parameter, and that's how it's represented. And you see that it's here 00 because we didn't add a time. So it defaults to midnight of the current time zone. So age. So we determine your age. You get today's time, your current time, minus your birth date time, and the answer will be in milliseconds. So we'll calculate it is 365.25 days per year, multiplied by 24 hours a day, multiplied by 60 minutes per hour, multiplied by 60 seconds per minute, times 1,000 seconds per millisecond, which will give you the milliseconds per year. So here's multiplied out. That's our variable. In our book, they used this number, and they're using a 365.241 days per year calculation, but it's okay. If we're off by a few milliseconds on how old you are, I don't think it's going to hurt anyone. So if we look at the answer for age 1, you'll see this person is 18.38 years old, and if we look at the answer for age 2, which uses our calculated milliseconds per year, we'll get the answer is 18.3804. So we're not too far off. So age 2 minus age 1. We're off by very small numbers. And that concludes this lesson.